Well, hello YouTube. I'm Terratan tonight, and welcome back to another episode of Dungeons & Dragons Thicc Builds. Today we have for you the Sorcerer. Now, last episode I thought I would go fairly quickly because a Thicc build could still be fairly swift, right? Well, turns out, not exactly. It ended up being half an hour long, which is fine, considering the time invested on a build video versus the time invested on actually playing the game. 30 minutes compared to perhaps hundreds of hours is a good investment. But I'll take my time today. Might as well. The quick build for Sorcerer has some pros and cons. Pros: there are some proper stat allocations. Charisma and con, they say, should be highest and next highest. And that's alright to a degree. There are some pretty good cantrip selection, Light, Ray of Frost, Prestidigitation, and Shocking Grasp. These are all pretty solid. Cons: no racial choice again. It's kind of silly because, of course, races have their benefits for certain classes because of stats and things. That's the first thing that you would pick. It's like, come on. What is going on? Pick a race. And of course, they admit this as they release more and more books. There's even more and more racial customization so that race and class combos that weren't as good can be better. And it's like, okay, they should have admitted this when the first book came out. Come on, have a race choice. No equipment choices. Silly. Again, this is at level 1. Come on. And then no subclass choices, even though sorcerers get their subclass at level 1. There's talks about subclass choice for the rogue, even though they get their subclass at level 3. Nothing for the sorcerer, even though they get theirs at level 1. The background choice, they chose Hermit. That's just okay. You get religion proficiency for a sorcerer. That's alright. And medicine, it's I don't get it. You don't get any healing spells or anything. It's silly. Sorcerers aren't healers. Not necessarily. That would be okay if you were a divine soul sorcerer. But again, they don't mention that at all, which is really sad. Also, if you want to make it a quick build, you're not going to be picking a divine soul. So really, I don't understand. The Thicc build. Here we go, and we'll get to this when we get there. Stats: standard array, 8 strength, 14 dex, 14 con, 12 intelligence, 10 wisdom, 16 charisma. Of course, we want that sweet 16, 14, 14. We want decent amount of HP, and of course we get that juicy +4 on our concentration checks. Really solid. 16 off the bat for charisma, because it's a charisma-based class with charisma-based spellcasting. And 14 for dex, because we'll be going for a specific subclass that benefits off of this and that is very, very beginner friendly. The race: Levistus Tiefling. Get free Ray of Frost, free Armor of Agathis, and eventually free Darkness. But these two are the most important. Ray of Frost really solid cantrip. 1d8 frost damage, less resistant than fire from Firebolt, and slows an enemy down 10 feet. Amazing for movement, positioning, fleeing, like tactical retreats, everything. Armor bag this, really good buff, and it just scales so well for damage, and all of that damage gets a boost later because of the subclass we'll be picking. Skills: Arcana, because we'll be being a magic person. Persuasion, we are a sorcerer, and because of all the high charisma that we'll be using, we want the nice, the friendliest charisma-based skill that we can get, which is persuasion. Just fits into what we'll be going into next. Background: picked entertainer for acrobatics and performance. We also get disguise kit and an instrument proficiency. I went pan flute again. I just really like the pan flute. It's just a nice peaceful sound, and it's an easy one-handed instrument that's compact and is good if you're scouting ahead, or if you want to inform your party with code. You can play the pan flute. Equipment: light crossbow, 20 bolts. They offer you a choice of a simple weapon instead. However, because we went dex, the only finesse simple weapons are daggers, and we get 2 daggers by default. So we go light crossbow because we get proficiency in those. And Ray of Frost has a verbal component, so if we want to attack really stealthily, we can use the crossbow. Arcane Focus. Incentive: the component pouch. You know, if I'm in a dire situation, I don't want to be fiddling around in a bag or a bunch of belt pouches. I'd much rather have just that really quick focus on me. Just, I have it, I can use it, it's fast. And you can pick whatever you want because, hey, you have free hands. You know? The crossbow is going to be really rare to use. The daggers are going to be really rare to use. So you can pick anything. I like crystal, or like a nice Final Fantasy-esque short staff. But hey, if you like the orb or something, you know, do you. Explorer's Pack. Definitely always pick Explorer's Pack. It's just so good for any generalized adventure, like, unless the campaign is like a very, very, very specific campaign, then you want Explorer's Pack. The rope is great. It's just incredible for all sorts of things. And then the 2 daggers. You just get those no matter what. Subclass: Draconic Bloodline. Gets a lot of criticism, but it's really quite amazing. And it's the most beginner-friendly out of all the sorcerers. Pick Silver, because we're going with an ice theme, and also we're going to get huge benefits, huge buffs and debuffs, big damage, and silver means that the dragons that we'll be interacting with mostly will be good aligned, which is really nice. So yeah, some of these passives are extra HP, 1 per level. So we'll be starting off with 9 HP, which is really solid. And we effectively get mage armor, 13 AC from our scales, plus 2, like plus dex. So we have 15 AC at level 1, which is really cool for having no armor otherwise. get extra damage eventually at level 6, and extra, free flight at level 14. These abilities, simply amazing and very intuitive for a new player. The spells that we pick. Ray of Frost included from the race, we get 4, or 4 or more rather. Minor Illusion, we picked Minor Illusion, we picked Shocking Grasp, Mage Hand, and Shape Water. Shape Water is an influence for all the ice and water spells we'll be casting. For instance, Ray of Frost at first level. Minor Illusion helps with social interactions. Mage Hand helps for exploration and a whole bunch of interesting situations. And Shocking Grasp helps you get out of melee, because you don't want to be in melee. Even though you have better AC and better HP than normal, you still don't want to get in melee. Spells. Sleep and Shield. Sleep will completely shut down an encounter, like several encounters, which will be really nice because all of the frontliners can get really big, effective buffs to their damage output. And you can just shut down all sorts of encounters: exploration, social, combat, what have you. Shield. Keep yourself safe. 20 AC on a reaction. Really good. Really, really good at level 1. Game plan. Social game plan. Charisma skills plus Minor Illusion. Total domination of social situations. Like, we're getting +5 on Persuasion. And then we could also use Minor Illusion to get like a potential advantage on that, or a +2. It's like absurd success rate on social situations. Absurd. Get a disguise kit quickly. Use costume plus performance or deception, and then you can make your own social plays. If you're kind of just in a tavern situation or something, like, hey, you can make your own social types of encounters basically for you. Like, you'll get bonuses here and there and everywhere from that. And by bonuses, I don't just mean like pluses to rolls. I mean like gold, like currency, equipment, maybe like additional knowledge, and like social status boon, all sorts of shit. It's very good to be in the favor of the local populace. And you can do that all sorts of ways like this. So, exploration. Stay in the back. You're not a scout necessarily. But when the scouts see something, you can use all sorts of spells, cantrips to be of great use. Minor Illusion, or Mage Hand, or even Ray of Frost plus Shape Water to break locks. Mage Hand Rope. What more do I need to say? Just incredible. Amazing little things that you can do here and there. Like exploration combos on a sorcerer. Feels good. Combat. Look for weak enemies, then cast Sleep. Stay in the back, and let the others just take them out. Shut down the encounter. No problem. Ray of Frost, a threatening enemy to save somewhat weakened allies. They'll be able to run away most of the time. So you have a 35 feet speed enemy, and you have a 30 feet speed ally. You Ray of Frost them consistently, and now they're down to 25 feet. And the ally has a 5 feet advantage now, and then they can run. Really solid. Crossbow bolts followed up with Shocking Grasp. Hey, even if they don't have any metal on them, you can put metal in them. And then, if you happen to be in melee, Shocking Grasp with advantage, and then run away because they can't use their reaction. So no opportunity attacks. Really good. It'll save your ass. Downtime. This one's very straightforward for a magic caster. Research magical items with Arcana. Visit magical stores. Try to get deals on magical items. Simple as that. Background. A lot of people don't do backgrounds in their optimized builds or any sort of builds, but I like to do mine. Here's just a simple example. Thinking his magic was from his devilish nature alone, Rabelais performed in many a circus show for the Slice of the Wheel moving circus, and made his living in peace, away from discrimination. However, during a show one day, the circus was attacked by a young silver dragon, looking to find and kill all heirs to his late grandfather's hoard. With a new discovery at hand, Rabba sets off to find the truth of himself and the succession fight that he's been dragged into. And there we have it. A sorcerer build that'll let any new player become a powerful asset to the party and to the table. And oh man, I just gotta mention this. At level 6, when you get that extra damage on ice, because we chose silver, it's extra damage on Armor of Agathis as well. So you can cast Armor of Agathis at 3rd level. You get 15 temporary HP for an hour. And when an enemy hits you, they take 20 damage. 20 cold damage. Immediately. No save. No nothing. Immediately. 20 cold damage. And if that damage, if you get hit for less than 15, then even if it's 1 additional temp HP that you have left, the next time the enemy hits you, they take another 20 damage. That is a level 3 spell dealing 40 damage. That is crazy numbers. Not only that is the damage wild, but again, you're getting 15 temp HP on top of that. Wild. Absolutely wild. So yeah, this combo, plus the additional damage on Ray of Frost, and like, oh man. A lot of great spell theory. If you want me to do an extended build, let me know in the comment section. If you liked the video, give it a like. Give me a subscribe. Perhaps a share. And I'll see you guys next time.